What's up, champ? I'm Vince Del Monte at vincedelmontefitness.com, and I just wrapped up some cardio here. It's about midnight. I thought we'd step outside my own comfort zone here in two ways. One, I'm going to do a response video in light of two videos that raised a number of criticisms, a lot of good points, fair points, conversations that need to be had if we're going to move forward and learn how to build muscle efficiently, right? That's what this channel is dedicated to, right? So I also understand that a lot of people that follow me and said, I agree with that, but they might have actually had some doubts too, so I want to give you reassurance in what I'm teaching here. The old Vince would have ponied up and run away and not responded to some of these criticisms, but I've really been able to get into a great spot with my life and online business where I've been able to slow down the pace. I've got people that are really taking care of the marketing side of my business now, so I can spend more time learning and educating myself and surrounding myself with teachers and educators and people that really look at the science and look at this from an unbiased perspective. So I want to just go through some of these comments, and this isn't to lift me up. This isn't to make me look better and say, hey, look at me. I'm smarter than you. This is for me to give you confidence in what you're doing in the gym. The people that follow me want to build muscle smart. They don't want to just focus on going harder. They want to be doing this long term. They want to do this into their 40s, 50s, 60s. So that's kind of the context of this. And a lot of people fail to look at what they're doing now in terms of what's the cost going to be. What's the cost going to be in a year from now? In 10 years from now, because there's certain things you're doing right now that you will pay for, and you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? So you have to know what's Vince all about. And the big message that I'm preaching on this channel these days, which will help you understand when I teach this stuff, why is he saying this stuff? It's based on one thing no one's really talking about, and I'll tell you why my shirt's off in a second too, because what's he doing with the shirt off? How do I look, by the way? I'm leaning out. I weighed in today at 204. I'm trying to get down to 196, and I think I'll start shooting shirtless more often. I'm pretty flat though. Anyways, this channel's about one really big idea, and again, it's a theme that I'm very passionate about, and it's this: longevity. All right? No one's talking about this. Everybody's talking about get it now, get it yesterday, go hard, kill it, crush it, and that's easy. We can all do that, but you're gonna pay a price for that. And it's gonna come with some injuries, strains, who knows, even maybe a surgeon's table. Have you ever seen some of those epic fail videos? They're not for the they're not for the weak of heart. You know what I'm saying? So is that the right saying, weak of heart?
Faint of heart.
Faint of heart, thank you. The caffeine's going a little too quick. It's not caffeine. I actually take teacrine in the evening time now, so it gives you that kick, but not as hard as the caffeine. So anyways, I'm just going to go through these comments here for you guys, and we're just going to crank them out, okay? I'm not going to drag this video out that long. So this comment was from Exploding Potato, and he says, Vince, in the nicest way, most respectful way, I disagree with you, bud. Compound movements let out testosterone that's stored in your body, which is crucial for gains. Also, they're natural movements besides the bench press. The bench press is probably the most dangerous exercise, not the deadlift. That last statement is simply false, because there's more joints involved with the deadlift. The more joints involved, the more risk. I mean, how many joints are involved in just the spine? What, over 20? And then you've got, just because there's more joints involved with the deadlift, it's a more dangerous exercise, okay? So that's how you discover what's an exercise that's more dangerous than another one. Count how many joint pieces are involved. That means there's a muscle that crosses each one of those things and plays a role in a different range of motion, a function. So a lot of pieces that you need to control. So that's how you decipher that. The testosterone thing, interesting. I've heard this one before too. You do not need compound exercises to release testosterone. What you need is an intense effort, a hypoxic environment, like a low oxygen environment. Will compound exercises help you do that? Yes, but you can also do that with isolation exercises if you know how to use them properly. That's the thing. Most people have never learned how to train efficiently with proper execution, so they have to just go to those big movements, and that's how they get the thing out of it. They kind of take that sledgehammer approach. If you will, it's kind of like intermittent fasting. It's a sledgehammer approach to dieting, to getting into a caloric deficit. So you can release testosterone from isolation movements. Yes, compound exercises will help you, and if you do them properly, it'll probably produce more, but it's not necessary. you think your body can actually tell, oh, okay, good, you're doing a compound exercises, we'll release testosterone, we'll give it an increase. No, it doesn't work like that. Your body doesn't know what you do. It deciphers stress, all right? So that's what you have to understand. That's the take-home lesson there. Another thing with that is even when you do increase testosterone levels, it's like an erection. It's up and then it's down. It's not long term. You're not increasing your testosterone levels into super physiological levels like what guys who take steroids get out of that. So yeah, you might get a transient increase then down, but it's not like anything sustainable long term. So it's like a little peak and then down, back to normal. So is it good? Yeah, sure, it's good, but it's not like going to rapidly transform your body. So that whole thing is kind of over exaggerated. Is it cool? For sure. Just saying the word testosterone is cool, right? It's gotta be good, right? You just use that word, right? So anyways, let's keep moving on to another comment. So a lot of people want to know, what exercises should I do instead? Now, I didn't say not to do these exercises. Okay, a lot of people put words in my mouth. I did not say to do these exercises. What I wanted to do was just present problems and challenges with these exercises. I just wanted to expose you to the risks, things that you have to be aware of. Every exercise you do in the gym is like a stock. You've got stocks that are going to give you a return on your investment. There's stocks that'll be okay, and then there's just stocks you don't want to put your money on because you're going to get burned and you're not going to see a return. You might actually go bankrupt. And there's certain exercises in the gym as well. I use the way I describe it is there's a lot of exercises that take from you, but they don't give a lot back. Okay, and I'm not saying those exercises can't be beneficial. I'm just saying that when you bring a lot of pieces into play, it's harder to challenge the thing that you want to challenge. Okay, this is a channel dedicated to building muscle. All right, so we're looking at how do we build muscle tissue. Does that make sense? And because those exercises require so many pieces, you have to ask yourself, am I challenging the piece that I want to actually hypertrophy? Okay, and that brings me to my next another one of the points was, just a lot of people were saying really silly things. This guy Gus Martin, probably one of the worst comments here. He said, did any lift that you can move a large or at least a decent amount of weight through a large range of motion will give you a lot of strength and size gains. Okay, you might get strength gains, but not necessarily size gains. And here is, and he's talking about the deadlift being like one of the best exercises on the planet. Yes, it's risky if you do it wrong, so are other exercises. And here's where the problem with this argument comes. When people look at exercises, they don't understand. People think that each piece involved in the exercise is doing an equal amount of work. Okay, so if we look at the deadlift, how many joints do we have? We've got the ankle, we've got the knee, we've got the pelvis, we've got the spine, which has got like 20 individual different vertebrae, 20 different joints right there. We've got the shoulder, we've got the elbow, we've got the wrist, we've got all the hand stuff. All right, so if we added a numerical number to each one of the joints based on how much it contributes to the movement, we could do something like this. So how much does the ankle play in the deadlift? Maybe we'll give it a 1. How about the knee? Maybe we'll give it a 3. How about the hips? We'll give it a 4. How about the wrists? We'll give that a 1. How about the elbows? We'll give that a 1 too. The shoulders, we'll give that a 2. See what I'm doing here? The spine, we'll give the spine a 3. So you have to understand that each individual muscle is having a different experience with that load. It's not getting equally distributed. So what you have to understand that when you're doing a deadlift, when you're doing a squat, when you're doing a bench press, which piece is going to take the greatest amount of load, is going to be challenged the most? The weak guys. The weak guys are going to see the most hypertrophy. So on a deadlift, what's it going to be? What are the weak guys? It's your forearms. Your forearms are the limiting factor, right? Does that make sense? So I'm going to give you guys an analogy. I want you guys to really understand this. If you had 2 soccer teams playing, you've got a world-class soccer team with 11 incredible players, and then you've got another soccer team with 8 average players, They were brought up from like the select league to play in the pro league, and then you only got 3 pro players on the other team. So we got a pro team with 11 players, and then another team with 3 pro players and 8 select players. Okay, not as good. Let's call them average players. When that game is over, who's going to beat up the most? The weak guys or the strong guys from the other team? The weak guys, because they had to play up a level. You see what I'm saying? The weak guys are going to improve the most, assuming they didn't get hurt. All right, those 8 average players who had to play up a league against the pro guys, they're going to see the most improvement. Again, assuming they didn't get hurt. We're making a big assumption. All right, the 3 top guys aren't going to get a great workout because they're playing against guys already of their caliber. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you're doing these big movements, people are like, I'm doing the deadlift to, build my legs and build my back. Well, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So unless you're biasing those muscles with the kind of techniques we teach on this channel, you're just dispersing it. All right, you're going to build. I'm not saying you can't build muscle with the deadlift. You're not going to build muscle with a squat. But what you're doing is this. You're building a little muscle in a lot of different places. Okay? You're building a little muscle in a lot of different places. As opposed to, shortening the range of motion, contracting the muscle you're trying to focus on, doing some cool things with bands, chains, etc. And biasing the thing that you want to grow. You see what I'm saying? So you really have to figure out what is the goal of this exercise. All right, that way you can direct the stimulus to what you want to see hypertrophy, or else the weak link's just going to take the biggest beating every single time and you always be limited by it. And that's why I always tell guys, if they're going to deadlift, use straps, right? Because that's what's going to go first. So anyways, I'm not saying that you can't build size with these exercises. You absolutely can. It's been proven by thousands, hundreds of thousands of guys. But you also have to ask yourself this: what is the cost, and is this the most efficient way to build muscle? If we know we're only building a little muscle in a lot of places, we have to ask ourselves, is this efficient? Am I making the best use of my time? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's where isolation exercises come in, and it's where they can become a very, very valuable tool, especially when you know how to do them properly. And that's why I'm a big proponent of incorporating isolation exercises into your training program. And then, I wanted to bring up another one of the big arguments. A lot of people say stuff like this: "Oh, you'll never see a guy who's like, who can bench press 500 pounds who has a small chest." Have you heard that one? Or you'll never see a guy with small legs who can, squat 600 pounds, etc. Actually, you can. Take a look at the world records in Olympic lifting. I believe the guy that's got the world record for the snatch, he can do over 300 pounds. So he can pull 300 pounds above his head, and the dude is 123 pounds. So yes, you can get very strong without building muscle. It's called neuromuscular gains. It's called practice. It's called getting better at the skill. Okay, so you're also making a huge assumption. You're implying that correlation equals causation. If you don't know what that means, look it up on Wikipedia. Correlation does not imply causation. You may have a huge guy who's always had a well-developed chest, so that when you see him benching with a big chest, you're just assuming that's how he got it. You don't know that. So you're making assumptions. Okay, so again, correlation does not imply causation. So there's a lot of variables at play in terms of why someone can bench press 500 pounds. And here's the one thing that nobody's talking about. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever met a guy who can bench press 500 pounds who hasn't had a shoulder injury at some point, or who isn't dealing with shoulder pain of some kind right now? So the reason I bring this up is because a lot of guys want to borrow these examples of these big, massive guys who've got these huge physiques, and they contribute it to compound movements, but they don't look at the big picture. I mean, you look at guys like right now, just a few days ago, Dennis Wolf, pro bodybuilder, he's just got surgery because of some form of weight training injury. Look at Branch Warren, look at Ronnie Coleman, poor guy. I just saw him a couple months ago at an event. He's in his 40s and he's got 2 hip replacements. Is that what you want? Is that what you're striving down? So yes, some of these guys have built muscle because of very heavy compound lift training. Yet it's come with a price. It's come with a cost. So don't throw that back at me and say, yeah, but okay, well then go for it. But that's not what I'm teaching here. You'll catch some contractions, you'll build some muscle, absolutely, but it's gonna come with a price. All right? Find one guy you know who can squat over 500 pounds who doesn't have knee issues. Find one. I bet you couldn't find one person who doesn't experience knee or hip problems or back problems who can deadlift over 600 pounds. Find one person. Name one. I bet you can't think of a single person. So again, you guys are using these examples saying, yeah, but all these big guys do it. Yeah, and they're beat up. They're not healthy. They're hurt. They're limping around. They're not going to be doing this into their 50s and 60s. Go talk to some of them. There's guys here in my gym in their 40s. They watch my stuff and, you know, they come up to me and say, dude, I can't do I got to spend half an hour doing this old man warm up before I even add real weight to the bar. Because they banged themselves up in their 20s. They were ignorant. They were stupid. They were trying to be heroes. They were ego lifting. So guys, you can say whatever you want about me. Oh, he's not that big. He's a weak ass bitch. He's, what else did the guy say? He's weak as fuck. This guy doesn't lift much weight. Oh, this channel's for pussies. Guys, if you go to the gym to move shit, be my guest. Lift as much weight as you want. Move it from point A to point B. Lift like a football player. It's going to come with a cost. All right? And I just hope a lot of you guys watching right now don't end up like that guy who has to live the rest of his life with an ice pack on his neck. All right? Or spend a fortune on physical therapy to just, move around and do daily activities and become a burden to your family. Because that's what you're going to become if you keep going down this stupid path of chasing more weight, and just listening to the old school compound exercises. Just get heavier. A lot of these guys are banging their bodies up and they're causing more harm than good. All right? So you can, and one of my friends, I was telling him, the science guy, mechanics guy, and he said, Vince, I love what you're trying to do, but these guys aren't going to listen. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you're just not big enough. He's my buddy. He's like, you would literally have to go on steroids for half a year or something, get huge, and then start teaching this stuff, and then people will start listening. And I'm like, well, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll go on a 4, 5, 6 month steroid cycle. I'll get huge and I won't use compound lifts. Is that what I need to do? Is that what I need to do to prove my point? There are big guys out there, Ben Pikowski, John Meadows. You listen to these guys, if you get into their world, these guys don't do ridiculous amounts of weights for their size. They know how to contract the muscle. They're efficient. They're smart. They understand exercise execution. And if you don't believe me, go listen to these guys. They'll tell you the same thing. Do they push hard? Yes. Do they push the envelope? Yes. But they also are smart. They're not idiots. I think those were all the, one last thing, a lot of my own guys were telling me, yeah, but Vince, you program bench press, squat, and deadlifts into your own paid programs. What's up with that? And like I said, I didn't say these exercises are evil. I didn't say they're wrong. I didn't say you should never do them. I'm just presenting the challenges with them. There's nothing magical about these exercises. Exercises are just names some random dude gave them. Again, you guys are looking at exercise from the wrong perspective. You're looking at an exercise based on headlines, and based on a headline saying these top 7 exercises equal a great butt. It doesn't work like that. That's headlines, guys. That's how people sell magazines and get you to click shit. Your body is a collection of joints and muscles. And when we go to the gym, we add force to those collection of joints and muscles. And that's all your body interprets. And we're applying stress to our system. All right? And we're trying to progressively add more stress, progressive overload, doing more work over time is essentially what we're trying to do. And we're trying to do it we're trying to do it efficiently. So again, that's where all my advice is coming from. I think I'm just gonna scroll through, see if there's any other any questions. Yeah, oh, one here is this one. Poor guy here, one of these guys here, his thing started off like this. After watching this video, I'm so disappointed in you, Vince. I've been following you for years now, and this is by far the worst video you've ever made. Please take it down. You're about to confuse and discourage thousands of beginners from trying to improve their big three. Okay, I'm gonna just pause there. It goes on and on. But the fact that he's disappointed with me, I mean, you guys should not be getting disappointed about this. This is exercise. Exercise is anatomy. It's physics. It's physiology. It's like the sun is hot, the sky is blue. It's like you shouldn't be getting emotional about this stuff. This isn't my opinion. I'm not here to lift Vince Del Monte up. I'm here to teach you guys what's right, what's correct, what's optimal, what's efficient. All right, so this isn't about me. So no one should ever have that kind of response to a subject matter on exercise that's governed by laws of physics, etc. All right, and this whole thing about you're about to confuse and discourage thousands of beginners from trying to improve their big three. I'm not telling them not to. Again, I'm telling them to be aware of what you're doing. All right. Be aware of what you're doing. You're adding force to your body. That's a very dangerous thing. No one would go and drill their own teeth, right? You're gonna hurt yourself, right? You've got to appreciate what you're doing to yourself. And this whole thing, there's a bunch of other comments here. I'm just gonna wrap this up now. Some guys are like, Vince, you're trying to make this too complicated. I'm not trying to make this complicated, guys. Listen, if exercise is science, if it's anatomy, it's physics, it's physiology, that stuff is complicated. I mean, a lot of people are just trying to simplify this like into a box, like to make it's simple in an essence, but on the other extreme, it's not simple. There is complicated aspects of this. So don't say I'm trying to make it complicated. I'm not trying to make it complicated. Those are complicated subjects that if you don't have an understanding of, you're going to hurt yourself. So all this stuff Vince makes it complicated is bullshit. And there's another guy, he said something like, this goes against what so-and-so said in his book. All the research produces in the book, all the research in his book goes against this. This just isn't true. So people are just saying this just isn't true because the research doesn't support it. Again, I'm just going to go back and say the research doesn't look at what happens to these guys 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. Okay? I'm trying to give you guys a new perspective. Okay, if the research said the best thing to do is to crush your body, would you do it? No, there's a consequence. So you guys, just because the research says something doesn't mean it's safe, doesn't mean it's something you want to do long term. There's a price. There's going to be a consequence. Oh, I got a mosquito bite. Crap, this is why I shouldn't shoot with your... Anyways, I think I've covered all the points here, guys. We talked about the testosterone thing. Yeah, so I think I covered it all. So there you guys go. I don't know if that was too long of a video, but there is a response video. Did I tell you guys why I'm shooting with my shirt off? I'm essentially trying to get lean enough to shoot shirtless all the time, trying to maximize my insulin sensitivity. I want to get down under 10% body fat and just stay there and just try to then add some mass from that point. So I'm trying to go slowly too, because I feel like I gain a bit of size over the winter. I don't want to lose it. So I'm trying to just lose, about a pound per week. It's a little less than 1% of my body fat per week. But anyways, that's why the shirt's off. I don't know if I even told you, but I had too much testosterone before I came here, so my brain was fired up. So I'm like, what's the point of going home right now when I could just shoot this video, get it done? And I'm going to go home and be wide awake and be like, I should have just shot that video, so I did that for you. Anyways, video's over. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Be sure to like it if you enjoyed some of those points. Hope I handled all those things. If I didn't, leave your comments below. And yeah, I think that's it. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends who are kind of, believing certain, I wouldn't call them lies. They're just people follow blind, it's the blind following the blind, right? It's not their fault, right? That's why I don't want to do this response video and get all emotional. This isn't, you don't need to get emotional about this stuff. So it's just, I'm passionate about it, but a lot of people have been led astray, right? By not people with bad intentions. They just, again, they don't look at it from this perspective. So I got enough. I've said enough here, guys. You guys have a good night. I got to go home and get some sleep. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.